A 52-point margin of victory, the third largest in Boston Celtics history. 140-88.
The Celtics just reached a remarkable milestone in their NBA season. Over the weekend, they reached a 10-game win streak, and just a couple nights ago, they absolutely slaughtered the Golden State Warriors as they extended their win streak to 11. During this span, their win percentage increased from 75 to 80%. They put themselves 8 games ahead of the second seed in the East, and if they were to lose their remaining games, they would still almost likely guarantee themselves a play-in spot at worst. But how impressive truly is this 10-game win streak? Is it something worth marveling? Or is it something that happens so often that it doesn't even need to be another headline in the news? Let's first take a look at some impressive streaks of the past. Here's a graph showing the number of times a team has amassed a win streak of 10 or more, but with everything we analyze on this channel, there are always outliers. In the summer of 2015, we saw the Warriors win their first championship in 40 years. The team instantly became fan favorites for their underdog-like story, taking a team that was primarily built through the draft and quickly rising through the ranks to become NBA champs. So, how did they follow up their championship season? Well, for starters, this team eventually won 73 games in a single season, breaking the previous record set by the Bulls in 1996. Secondly, this team ended up with a 24-game win streak, but most impressive stat is they won all 24 of these games to start off their season. A nice 24-0 to just start off the season. But this is only the third longest streak. Just 2 years earlier, we saw LeBron James-led Miami Heat capture a 27-game win streak on their way to back-to-back titles. But the most impressive winning streak happened almost 40 years earlier. From November 5th, 1971, all the way through January 7th, 1972, we saw the Los Angeles Lakers boast an astonishing 33-game win streak, a streak I truly believe will never be broken today. Just like the Heat, this streak was followed up by a Lakers championship, giving Jerry West his one and only NBA championship. These are the 3 longest streaks in NBA history, but with all good things come bad things, and just as impressive as it is to win a lot of games in a row, it is somehow just as impressive to lose many games in a row. In the summer of 2010, we saw LeBron James make his decision and leave Cleveland for Miami. With poor communication with him and the team, the Cavaliers are caught with their pants on the ground at the start of the 2010-11 season with no star power and a very young core to work with. To no one's surprise, this left their team with little chance to win, but nobody saw a 26-game losing streak happening. In a different situation, we have the 76ers. In the 2012 season, the Sixers had a battle with the Celtics in the second round for the playoffs that ended up going to 7 games. But after a loss, the 76ers had a bad year following that year and ended up being the 10th seed in the East. At that time, management, primarily the newly appointed president of basketball operations, the infamous Sam Hinkie, decided to tank. This led to a 4-year tank job of the 76ers continually throwing their seasons away to try to secure top picks for the next few years to build around. Thus, the process was born. During these years of tanking, the 76ers also matched the then record 26-game losing streak held by the aforementioned Cavs. But the real dumpster fire happened this year when the Detroit Pistons not only tied this record, but added 2 more L's to the streak, racking up 28 straight losses. Most of us are familiar with that story as it just happened just a few months ago, but after a 2-1 start to their season, the Pistons crapped the bed for the next 2 months, adding insult to injury to what the Detroit Pistons have already been as an organization the last 15 years. So, going back to our initial question, how impressive is it to get a 10-game win streak? Well, to take an initial approach to solving this, let's say I have a coin. There are 2 sides to this coin, heads and tails. If I were to flip a coin, I have a 50% chance of getting either heads or tails. What about the odds of getting back-to-back heads? That would bring the probability down to 25%, which can be explained by the formula p to the n power, with p being probability of a coin toss being heads, and n being the number of times you want the outcome to happen. So, what are the odds of flipping a coin and getting 10 heads in a row? That would be the probability of 50% to the 10th power, or 0.00097652625, or about a 0.1% chance, meaning you would have to have 1,204 streaks before getting a 10-game win streak. Well, how do these odds hold up to how the NBA has historically been? Let's take a look at every 10-plus game win streak in NBA history. In 1946, we saw the first 10-plus game win streak recorded in NBA history. The Washington Capitals, no, not the hockey team, recorded not only just a 17-game win streak, but followed this up with a 15-game win streak to finish the season with a 49-11 record, the equivalent of a 67-15 record in today's NBA. Since this remarkable achievement of two 10-plus win streaks, there have been 264 more win streaks of 10 or more throughout the NBA history, totaling to 266, with the most recent being the Boston Celtics. This means, in the 77 years the NBA has existed, about 3.76 win streaks happen each season, or in other words, 3 or 4 streaks of 10 plus will happen at some point in each NBA season. At first glance, 3 or 4 streaks of 10 or more happening in NBA season does seem high, but what is the denominator? According to the website StatHead, which by the way, thank you for having an amazing data source so I can pull these numbers from, a streak is defined as 2 or more. Since the NBA's inception, there have been a total of 15,248 win streaks and 15,091 losing streaks. Although this gets me most of the data I need, the issue is that I need to think about one game winning or losing streaks. So this is where my judgment comes in. I'll go back to the coin toss from earlier. When it comes to winning a basketball game, you have 2 possible outcomes. You either win or you lose. So with this knowledge, I'm going to assume that we have a 50-50 shot of winning or losing a game, and take this one step further by saying 50% of our data should consist of a 1-game losing streak or 1-game winning streak. So with that being said, we simply multiply the 2 large numbers I mentioned before by 2, giving us a total of 60,678 possible streaks to ever exist in the NBA. Now that we've gathered all of our data, let's put the pieces together. If we take our number of 266 win streaks of 10 plus games and divide that by the number of possible streaks, 60,678, we get the number 0.0043837, or 0.4%, or in other words, 1 in every 228 streaks will result in a 10-game winning streak. But what else has the data told us? For starters, if you're a fan of the Orlando Magic or the Washington Wizards, you have never seen your team have a 10-plus game win streak. On the other side of this, you have teams like the Celtics, Lakers, and Spurs boasting 20-plus 10-game win streaks throughout their franchise history. And this makes total sense, as these are 3 of the most winningest franchises in the NBA. In fact, out of the 266 times a 10-plus winning streak has occurred, only 3 times has the team had a record below 500, and only 3 times did they match 500. So to no one's surprise, yes, having more wins in a season does correlate to having a better chance of getting a win streak of 10+. So, is this current win streak of the Celtics impressive? Yes it is. We currently have 2 teams with a 6-game win streak, but if those don't hold up, this might be the only 10+ win streak of the season. After all, a 0.4% chance of this happening is pretty small, and so the fact that we are witnessing something right now is great. And if you want me to hit a 10 video upload streak, be sure to like this video, let me know your thoughts, and subscribe for more basketball analysis. And until then, I'll see you all at the start of the next quarter.